Coming up on the Inside Indiana Business Television podcast, Southwest Indiana launches a national branding effort, details on a new renewable natural gas plant, and Indiana Bakery's products are heading to Walmart. A big health push is going mobile. We talk to the new president of the Christian Theological Seminary. We preview next month's NHRA U.S. Nationals and give you the latest in Indiana economic development news. Welcome to the Inside Indiana Business Television podcast. I'm Andy Ober. Southwest Indiana is looking to push its business climate and quality of place to a national audience. That includes a new TV commercial on the Golf Channel and another for social media platforms. Economic Development Coalition of Southwest Indiana CEO Greg Wathen joined Inside Indiana Business host Gary Dick to talk about the effort.
You've got a big event, a big sporting event coming up. You've hosted this event for a number of years, the Corn Ferry Tour Championship at the beautiful and very difficult Victoria National course. You've got some spots that will be running on the Golf Channel. And tell us about the message that you're going to be sending out to really an international audience.
Well, the idea really came out of an extension of the Regional Cities Initiative, where you talk about attracting and retaining talent. Part of what we were supposed to do is to extend the brand of Southwest Indiana and beyond just Indianapolis, but to the world. So allowing us to have the commercials on the Golf Channel, which will be broadcast over 190 countries around the world, it really extends our brand.
Gets the message out there. The corporate base there, Toyota nearby in Princeton, 5,000 plus jobs, very global, multi-billion dollar company. This is a chance to really say, hey, there's some activity here.
Well, Berry Global just became more than a $13 billion company, headquartered in Southwest Indiana, about 45,000 employees. And then you look at AstraZeneca, 700 plus employees beyond Toyota, Alcoa. You have some really large companies that are here, and they're corporate sponsors that help us drive the brand home.
A lot of activity, a lot of projects going on, fueled in large part by the Regional Cities Initiative. You got $42 million in funding there, leveraging what could ultimately be maybe $900 million in projects.
We think it'll be close to $1 billion, but right now we're going to say it's at least $900 million. And there's just a lot of projects, a lot of them in the core of the heart of downtown, the heart of our region, but also it's shared throughout our four-county platform.
Let's talk about real quickly, too much to talk about really, but the new Med Center, the Stone Family
Center for Health Sciences.
What has that done? Because IU, University of Evansville, USI, all partnering on that.
Well, there are also four medical systems. So you have Deaconess, you have St. Vincent's, you have Memorial in Jasper, and you have Good Samaritan and Vincennes. It's helped change the culture, but it lets people know that this will be the School of Medicine for all of Southern Indiana, and it has the opportunity for us to really leverage that asset, which is a very unique asset indeed.
A lot of high-tech things going on there, too. Interested in the Post House, which is a development that's really futuristic.
Well, the idea of the Post House was to live in the experiment. It was one of our regional cities projects. So we have partners. We start off with Haier, which is the world's largest manufacturer, in terms of manufacturer of appliances, and with working with Vectron. It's to test technology, test new energy technology as well as smart appliances within an environment in which you can live, and that's the Post House.
Connectivity is a huge issue for the state of Indiana. Evansville Regional Airport has seen a huge infusion of capital, $20 million, really a big makeover.
Well, the airport needed it, but it really is, it's the front door of a three-state region, whether that be Southwest Indiana, Northwest Kentucky, Southeastern Illinois. This is our airport, but it connects us to the world.
What's next? Because there's so many things going on, the convention center business.
Right.
You have the arena downtown, beginning to get more hotel development. Is this kind of maybe that tipping point that people have been looking for a long time in downtown?
Well, I think so. I think downtown, we've been rediscovered as a region, as a downtown area, but in particular, if you think of the potential of the new Ohio River Bridge that will be coming across, I think our region has the potential just to really explode and be a part, and a really positive part of Indiana's resurgence.
Final question for you. What does this do, when residents see the progress, they see the building, they see the buzz downtown? Does that kind of help move things along a bit?
The excitement downtown, when I first came in 2007, it was very quiet downtown. Now you see just on a daily basis how much truly the excitement builds upon other types of opportunities there, and we're going to be seeing, can't tell you about it, but we're working on some other opportunities for the downtown area as well.
We'll have you back to talk about that. Greg Wathen, the President and CEO of the Economic Development Coalition of Southwest Indiana. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
All right.
Still to come, a Hoosier bakery is bringing its products to Walmart shelves, and a new app targets Hoosier health. But first, Kinetrix Energy, EDL, and Southside Landfill broke ground in June on a new renewable natural gas facility in Indiana. Once complete, it will convert landfill gas into approximately 8 million gallons of renewable natural gas each year. Kinetrix Energy CEO Aaron Johnson came in studio with a progress report.
First of all, Kinetrix, give us the thumbnail description of the company.
Yeah, so Kinetrix, we think of ourselves as the common sense environmental company. That is, obviously, we're producing products that are great for the environment. They work for everyone out there. They are practical. We don't have to change, our entire country's generation fleet to do it. And lastly, they actually lower the cost. This is an easy decision. We do that with primarily 3 products. With natural gas that you would deliver off the pipeline to various customers, with liquefied natural gas, where we take natural gas, chill it to minus 260 degrees Fahrenheit, it takes on a liquid state, and then renewable natural gas, which is gas from landfills, anaerobic digesters, at farms, and at wastewater treatment plants.
All right, let's talk about this big investment, $25 million for this renewable natural gas plant on the south side of Indianapolis. Your company, an Australian company, as well as Southside Landfill, are all partnering. How's it going to work?
Okay, so the methane that comes off of a landfill occurs naturally. You take the waste, you bury it, it naturally decays, it gives off methane and CO2. If you can capture that methane, purify it, clean it up, then you get a good usable product that would otherwise be escaping into the atmosphere, methane being one of the more harsher greenhouse gases. So we'll take the gas off that landfill, about 1 billion cubic feet of gas a year, and then clean it up to 98% methane, remove CO2, nitrogen, and other items out of it, and then place it into the Citizens Gas distribution system, where we'll take it to our LNG plants, liquefy it, and use it for long-haul trucking.
Long-haul trucking. And interesting, and the difference, we're talking about renewable natural gas compared to pipeline natural gas, which comes from way underneath the ground, a different deal here.
Yeah. So people often think of gas, they hear about the Marcellus and the Utica, where you're going down 5,000, 10,000 feet or more, drilling out laterals that will go out miles, and bringing that gas, moving it by pipeline. This is a domestic source. This is gas that is being generated and escaping the atmosphere regardless. It's considered a renewable because it will be generated for obvious reasons, whether waste and different sources. And so this is a unique way to capture it without having to go deep into the environment to get it.
You've got a number of customers you'll be sending this product to. And an example, I think, too, of kind of Indiana becoming a hub for renewable fuels activity. To see what Cummins is doing, Fair Oaks Farms, and a number of others.
Yeah, I think, I always think of it this way. A lot of folks think of the coasts as the kind of the areas for innovation, particularly on environment. And I think it'd surprise a lot of folks to know that Indiana is a leader in this area. I mean, we're a red state, we're a heavy industrial state, we're have a long history with coal. But the fact is, you have us at Kinetrix as one of the leading suppliers of alternative fuels in the country. You have Fair Oaks Farms up north, which was an innovator in the renewable natural gas from anaerobic digestion. You have Cummins, which manufactures all the natural gas engines in the buses and in the Class 8 trucks. And then up in northern Indiana, around Lafayette and in Tippecanoe County, you have all these great manufacturers, the country's leading manufacturers of cryogenic trailers and transportation for these.
Renewable natural gas plant, largest in the state. We look forward to following it. Aaron Johnson from Kinetrix, thanks very much. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
All right.
Later in the podcast, a new app looks to make healthy habits more fun for Hoosiers, and the Christian Theological Seminary has a new president. But now, products from homegrown bee-free, gluten-free bakery are hitting shelves in 2,000 Walmart stores throughout the country. Bee-free evolved from founder Jennifer Weesey's desire to bake gluten and dairy-free treats for her oldest son. She joined us to talk about the company's success.
This truly is a success story. I remember having you on the show 4 or 5 years ago as you were really getting rolling in this. Give us the idea, or give us the concept here, and how Bee-Free started.
Be Free started from my love for my son, number one, and the ability and the need to fill good, delicious tasting gluten-free foods in the marketplace.
So you started baking these products to get into a commercial kitchen. As things began to gain traction in farmers markets. Things have grown substantially. Talk about the footprint now of Be Free around the country.
Sure. So in the early days, we were hand delivering our product, by the case or by the bag. And fast forward to today, and we're selling product by the truckload.
Yeah, and thousands. So I mentioned the 2,000 Walmart stores, which is new.
Right.
But Costco, Target, Meijer, you really are truly have become a nationwide brand.
We have, and that's really been our focus from day one. We really felt passionate about getting food into the people's hands wherever they live. So that's why Walmart is so exciting for us, because of all the different neighborhoods across the country that Walmart stores are occupied in.
And I think the timing when you came up with this idea, the whole gluten-free craze, if you will. I mean, popularity is really gaining, so you really tapped into a niche, and that has grown substantially. Paleo diets, also, a lot of those folks are interested in this as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. As you talk about, why do you think this is catching on so much? Why do you think it's so popular?
People are looking at food as their medicine. They're looking at labels, and they're understanding more about the food that they're eating, and reading labels and asking questions. And I think that the more people do that, that will just continue, and the demand and the need for more clean label products that taste delicious will continue to grow.
Now talk about production, because obviously you've grown substantially. How do you get the products produced?
So we have two bakery facilities currently, so one in Indiana, one in Michigan, and so they do a fantastic job of filling our needs, and we will be able to continue to grow with them and then expand to other parts of the country production-wise as we grow. So it's the warrior mix. You have different flavors and different sizes as well, and some growth opportunities, as we were talking with into college market, convenience stores, and those types of things. For sure, yes. Getting good nutrition into the hands of our children is super important to me. I'm the mom of four children, college age now, and so as they continue to grow, I want to be able to have good, clean choices for them, specifically, as well as all the other students in those locations. Noblesville mom had an idea. Did you ever think that it would grow into what this is, and still growing? You got a lot more growth potential. We have a lot more growth potential. Really, the sky's the limit. And no, I really didn't start this thinking this will be a national brand type of a business. I really did it for the love of my son and my family. Yeah, it's a great story. Jennifer Weesey, the founder and creator at Be Free Gluten-Free Bakery. We look forward to having you on again as you continue to grow the product. Thanks so much. All right.
Remember, you can catch Inside Indiana Business Television on stations throughout the state every weekend. Head to InsideIndianaBusiness.com to check listings. Still to come, we talk to the new president of the Christian Theological Seminary and preview the world's biggest drag race in Indianapolis. But first, a tech company and a research powerhouse are joining forces to put health at Hoosiers' fingertips. They have developed a new app in hopes of making healthy habits more fun and interactive. Indiana Clinical Translational Sciences Institute founding director Anantha Shaker and LifeOmic Chief Scientific Officer Tom Barber joined Kylie Valletta in the business of health.
Dr. Shaker, let's start with you. This app is part of the All In for Health program. So tell us first about that program and its aim to get more Hoosiers involved.
Yeah, the All In for Health is a program of the Indiana CTSI, which, as you know, is a partnership between Indiana University, Purdue University, and Notre Dame University. And the concept is that this program engages Hoosiers to take charge of their own health through health applications, learning about health, as well as potential health research that is going on in the state.
And Tom, let's talk a little bit about LifeOmic. It's a software company created by Don Brown. He's an Indiana tech giant, serial entrepreneur. The app, give us a crash course. What is it like for users when they're using it?
Sure. So LifeExtend is the name of the application. This is a free app available for iPhones and Androids. And as its name suggests, it's a health and wellness app. And it's different than the thousands of other health and wellness apps out there in 4 key areas: content, socialization, gamification, and data integration. In terms of the content, the principles that are involved there are based in strong science and medical practice and validation. In socialization, we employ the same types of techniques that are used with Facebook friends, for example, so that individuals can create circles within their own network or join other circles of family and friends, and that helps motivate them and encourage them to engage in those practices. Gamification. When an individual does a healthy behavior, it does something like eat their broccoli or rest a certain amount or get a certain number of exercise, they get points for that. They're rewarded. And people are competitive by nature and they like to see progress. And so we provide those types of measures and instant feedback for them. And lastly, data integration. The app itself is integrated fully into our Precision Health Cloud platform. And that allows other information, clinical data, genomic data, to be brought together to customize that content for those users.
And Dr. Shaker, one important piece of this is giving Hoosiers a chance to get involved in health research. So tell us about how that connects to clinical trials.
Yeah, so one of the unique aspects of this app is, in addition to all the things that Tom mentioned about taking care of your own health, you also have connectivity to all of the research that is going on at the Indiana University School of Medicine and across the state. On an average year, we have about 1,600 clinical research projects that are going on here in all areas, from diabetes to cancer to children's diseases. So we would like people to know about them, participate in them, as well as learn about all the opportunities here.
And really make it more accessible.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think clinical trials is a way to actually access cutting-edge treatments that are no-cost treatments as well for various life-threatening illnesses.
And Tom, we have described this as a precision health app, and I think your average person may not understand what that means. So can you explain what that means in layman's terms?
Sure. So no two people are the same, and no two people need to follow the exact same practices in order to have a healthy lifestyle. So by bringing together the information from the mobile application with the individual's clinical data from their electronic medical record, for example, or with their genomic data if they've had different genetic tests done, the type of activities that those individuals can employ are customized really to themselves and to their specific needs.
Absolutely.
And so you could have used a lot of different tools to connect with Hoosiers. So why an app in particular? Probably either one of you could speak to that.
Yeah, no, I think the way to connect with people anymore is through social media, and these devices, especially phones, smartphones, is universally available. People spend a lot of time on that. People connect with a lot of their family and friends through those. So that's a perfect vehicle for us to reach and engage Hoosiers in healthy behaviors.
And again, for either one of you, the future of this, where do you go with this app down the road?
I would say we want to engage as many people as we can. Our goals currently are to get 100,000 people over the next 2 years. But eventually we would like to connect all 6 million Hoosiers through this and other apps for healthy behaviors.
All right. Well, Dr. Shaker, Tom, thank you both for being here today. Hopefully you're both tracking your health on your app.
Yes, absolutely. I got my app.
Eat your broccoli.
Later in the podcast, Indy is ready for drag racing's grandest event, and our Eye on Economic Development segment focuses on public transit and recession fears. But now, David Mellett began as the new president of the Christian Theological Seminary July 1st. He is tasked with guiding CTS through its new agreement with Butler University and looking at making connections with other community organizations. He outlined his plans in our Eye on Education segment.
You come to Indianapolis from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. What interested you in this job? What attracted you to Indianapolis and CTS?
Well, I've had my eye on Christian Theological Seminary for a long time because it's known across the country as being not only a stellar seminary, but also because it has an excellent faculty, it has a wide range of degree programs, it has the first PhD program in African American preaching and sacred rhetoric, which is really incredible. It has a counseling center that serves thousands of people each year. So I was excited about coming to an institution that had a wide range of programs, but also a large platform and vision. Mm-hmm. And I thought, I think this is a place where I could, be part of the team and make a contribution.
You talk about some of the attributes and the asset that CTS is to Indianapolis. Talk about a little bit about the history, because it's interesting. Been around since 1855 and very much has its roots with Butler University.
That's right. It grew out of Butler University, has its origins there. And And our counseling center has been around for over 50 years, serving people of Indianapolis. As you well know, we sold our campus to Butler a few years ago, and we made that decision not because we needed the money, but because we really thought we would be better stewards of our resources if we sold the building to Butler and concentrated on our mission, especially since we didn't need the entire building. As anybody who's been on the campus, it's a stunning, beautiful place, but it's also much larger than we need. So we thought it was a wiser choice to share that space with Butler, which in some ways is, reinvigorating our collaboration with Butler.
Yeah. As we were talking off camera before the interview, you talked about your vision to really renew the place of church in community. How do you see that playing out?
That's right. So one of the things I think about, one of my favorite theologians, Aidan Kavanaugh, once said that the church is called to be the workshop of the city. And I think that rings true to me, that it's not that the church dictates the agenda of the city, but that the church makes a contribution that brings a theological voice to the issues of the day, whether we're talking about immigration or poverty or mental health, all of those issues. And it seems to me that then the seminary, because we serve the church, that's directly the work that we do, that we need to join them in that being the workshop of the city. So helping to train leaders for that, but also joining them in that work. So I think that's another reason why I think CTS is so valuable to Indianapolis, because we help convene public conversations around these critical issues, bringing not only our voice, but other voices from outside the region to help us.
Yeah, and you mentioned the church. The church is changing, and as the church changes, you feel as though CTS needs to change.
That's right. I mean, we directly, because we support the church, and the church is changing, we need to grow and innovate. And so one of the things that we know is that more of the pastoral leaders in our churches are moving from full-time positions to part-time positions. What that means then is that students have more challenges as they prepare for ministry. They have financial challenges that they have to face. And so one of the things, again, that CTS offers is we offer significant financial assistance and scholarships to students that helps their life as students not only to be better, but it also reduces the debt load that they carry when they go into ministry. So if they're going to go into a part-time position and they have to take on another job while they're pastoring, then we don't want them to be burdened by significant student debt.
Yep.
So that's a very important part of the work that we do.
Dr. David Malott is the new president at Christian Theological Seminary, CTS, here in Indianapolis, a great asset for the community. Dr. Malott, great to have you in Indianapolis. Look forward to have you back on the show soon.
Thank you.
Still to come, a look at Indiana's top economic development news, including public transit moving forward and the potential of a coming recession. But first, each Labor Day weekend, NHRA racers and fans descend on Lucas Oil Raceway at Indianapolis for the world's biggest drag race. The event is the last race of the 18-race regular season. Lucas Oil Raceway General Manager Casey Kohler joined Bill Benner for Inside Indiana Sports.
Big time coming up with the 65th U.S. Nationals at Lucas Oil Raceway. Big event.
Big event, world's biggest drag race in the world. So not just here domestically, in the world. We've got folks coming from all over. Australia, we just had a team come in today. Sweden, they all make Indianapolis and Brownsburg their home for about 7 days while we put on this big, fantastic event.
Casey, I think people, we all think about the Speedway and the Indianapolis 500. This is the second largest motorsport event in Indiana.
Yes, over 100,000 fans will come to Brownsburg, Indiana over the course of Labor Day weekend. We've been doing it for roughly 62 years now here in our backyard. And it is. People don't realize that this is the second largest motorsports event in the state of Indiana.
One of the cool things about going to the National Drags is every ticket's a pit pass. I mean, you can you can stand right next to the machines and the drivers.
Meet your favorite drivers, go up, see what they're doing, working on the cars. Remember, they make multiple passes throughout the day, so they bring those cars down, tear them apart, put them back together. You get to meet the drivers, see what they're doing up close and personal. And yeah, like you said, every ticket's a pit pass.
One of the amazing stories every year is John Force. He's 70 years old, and you told me before we went on, he just won his 150th race, and he'll be a favorite again this year.
He's one of the favorites. Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, he has the energy of, an 18-year-old out there, just winning his 150th out in Seattle, Washington a few weeks ago. And Indiana and Indianapolis is special to him. He obviously has his shop here with all of his teams. This event means a lot to him.
And you mentioned the shop being here because Brownsburg and Claremont, it's a national hub for drag racing.
Really, this is the home of drag racing. When you think of it, you've got the U.S. Nationals, you've got most of the big teams. I think probably about 90% of the big teams are based here. So you've got quite a bit of industry in terms of manufacturers, chassis manufacturers, cars. All of that stuff is coming right out of the backyard of Indianapolis.
Sport in good shape?
Doing really well. We made a change about 3 years ago over to Fox, and this event will be on Fox, Big Fox with Fox 59 carrying it on Labor Day. We've seen great growth on both our television ratings, but also the live event side of it. Sometimes that's a challenge for motorsports, but we've been very fortunate where we've actually seen attendance growth.
And if people want to get out to Lucas Oil Raceway for the event, how would they go about that?
Yeah, so the easiest way is probably just go to NHRA.com. You can get your tickets, get your information, or you can come out to Lucas Oil Raceway right outside of Claremont, Indiana in Brownsburg. And we've got 7 days of activity going on starting next Wednesday, rolls right through Labor Day on Monday. A lot of fun stuff going on.
And for anybody who's never been to the National Drags, it is, you talk about lights, action, power, sensory overload. It's amazing.
That sensory experience, taste, smell, noise, it's all of that combined and then some.
All right, well, Casey, we appreciate you coming on the show. Have a great event.
Appreciate it.
Best wishes. And again, National Drags coming up at Lucas Oil Raceway.
And finally this week, our Eye on Economic Development segment focuses on public transit, inclusive growth, manufacturers prepping for a potential future recession, and Elevate Ventures' new venture capital report. KSM Location Advisor CEO Tim Cook and President Katie Culp give perspective.
They just returned from a speaking engagement at the Trust Belt Conference in Louisville. First of all, welcome, but glad you're back here from Louisville. Major conference. Lots of decision makers and economic developers from around the country are there. What were they talking about, and how does that relate to maybe what's going on here in Indianapolis and the state of Indiana?
Well, in addition to talking about bourbon a lot, they talked...
And maybe sampling some.
Exactly, yeah. A lot of the talk was about what kind of solutions are out there for workforce development. What can we do to make sure that this economy continues to hum along so that they can do the kind of projects that they want? How do they work with collaboratively with communities and partners? It was a great conference, I think. Katie, you'd agree. There was a lot of robust discussion about a variety of economic development issues.
Your big takeaway, Katie, because you go to those and it's interesting to hear what people are saying from other parts of the country and how it relates to what's going on here.
Well, one of the wonderful things about the economy having been doing so well is that labor market's tight, but people are looking at creative alternate ways to tap into different pockets of the workforce that have been overlooked before. And so there was a lot of discussion. It dovetails nicely into some of the things going on in our city and state that officials are trying to take a look at workforce development, figure out how to break down those silos and work together in a business-friendly way.
Yep, workforce, talent, those are big issues, and they relate back to mass transit, which has been talked about for many, many years here in Indianapolis. And we're about to see the first phase of that future mass transit plan with the launch of the Red Line. We're going to have Indigo's new CEO, Inez Evans, on the show next week to talk about that. But Katie, as we near the launch of the Red Line, your thoughts? A lot of discussion about it now, especially around our office here where the Red Line is very close.
I know, you know firsthand. Yeah. Change is hard, and it is a different way for both car drivers and the Indigo riders to move around our city. So there's been some growing pains, but I think it's such an important tool from a workforce standpoint, and not just for those who may not have cars, but for millennials that don't want to drive. So that's a really important piece. And I think it's cool that they're looking at ways to partner up with groups like IPS and kind of guarantee, if you will, a certain supply of riders. And I hope they continue to do stuff like that.
Tim, how important do you think it is that the Red Line, which is the 13-mile stretch, essentially, I think, Broad Ripple to UIndy, that it's successful and that it begins that process of expanding mass transit.
I think it's really important. We invested a lot of political capital, a lot of just regular capital to make this happen. I think Indy is really banking on the fact that they're trying to look like other cities that are peer cities that have successful mass transit programs. So I think it's a key part of our future, and it needs to work.
And some people kind of dismiss the idea that mass transit is needed for talent attraction and talent retention. But you're all in the game, in the economic development game on a daily basis. You would, I assume, would refute that.
Yeah, I would definitely disagree with that position. I mean, you take a place like Nashville, Tennessee, that does not have mass transit, and they're dinged a lot of times by our clients when they're looking at Nashville as a location because the commute time, the traffic is a burden that is off-putting. And so this is an investment and a first step towards differentiating ourselves that way.
All right. Also, recently we saw Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett and the Indy Chamber come out with an inclusive growth strategy, which I thought was interesting. A number of elements included there, but basically making the economy, making Indianapolis, the region, more inclusive.
It's interesting because at the conference that Katie and I spoke at, one of the issues was how do states and communities collaborate better? And I think that's at the core of this program or this initiative, which is if we're giving incentives to companies, do we also demand from them to be good community partners, be involved in their neighborhoods? And I think that's something that the city has always done informally, but this is to kind of codify it as part of the incentive programs.
Your initial take on it sounds great, the plan, but the ability to implement it, to make it happen.
I think they've got the working parts already in place because whether a company is engaged in the community or not, that is already part of the discussion when they offer incentives. Now it's a matter of actually making it part of those contracts to ensure that they do what they said they were going to do.
Yep. Katie, venture capital report came out from Elevate Ventures showing venture capital activity is increasing over 2018. The size of the deals, though, continue to lag a bit. But the venture capital seems to be getting better, but still a ways to go.
Yeah, I think the other promising piece, I think we were second in the Midwest of the amount of venture capital offered. And I think that's really impressive for our home state when you consider some of the competitors.
Yep. Everyone's talking about the R word, recession. Is a recession in the offing? Of course, there's always going to be a recession at some point in the future, but some people pointed to next year. The RV industry, big piece in the Wall Street Journal this week, citing Elkhart as a bellwether with the downturn in the RV sector. Your take on that, Tim?
I think there are mixed signals right now. You have things like that happening, but then you have real estate is still a very hot industry. We have not seen really a downtick in the number of projects that we do. But certainly those warning signs are out there. You see it in the stock market, and I think everybody's taking notice. Yeah,
final question to you, Katie. Just the psychology of the possibility of that being out there. Does that affect decision makers and activity in the economic development world?
I think it does. I think everybody's anticipating it, and so it kind of speeds up everything that's going on right now. We're all anxious to finalize deals. I think company representatives want that financial approval from the board and to get the okay to go ahead before anything changes, which is good. Yep. It's a good time to be out in the business world.
Very good. Katie Culp, Tim Cook, KSM Location Advisors, another great perspective, an eye on economic development. Thanks for joining us.
That wraps up this week's Inside Indiana Business television podcast. Remember, you can find all of this week's TV segments, as well as the top business news from throughout the state at InsideIndianaBusiness.com. While you're there, you can also subscribe to our platform of free e-newsletters. This is Andy Ober for Inside Indiana Business.